Well, ladies and gentlemen, we please acknowledge the arrival of Secretary Gilberto C. Chodoro Jr., Department of National Defense. He's being received by the Commanding General, Philippine Army, Lieutenant General Roy M. Galido, Philippine Army.
Mga sampanaw! Ka!
We would like to request all our guests to be seated now. Once again, all our guests are requested to please settle down. Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to announce the arrival of Secretary Gilberto C. Chodoro Jr., Department of National Defense, representing the President of the Republic of the Philippines and Commander-in-Chief Armed Forces of the Philippines, His Excellency Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. While the rest of the guests may be seated now. Well, distinguished guests, on the occasion of the 127th founding anniversary of the Philippine Army, may we invite your attention on the capability of the Army's Special Forces parachute team. We are now witnessing the mass jump. Equipped with additional competencies in unconventional or asymmetric operations, the Special Forces troopers are now more geared to perform as a quick reaction force that can be deployed from air anytime and anywhere. Airborne operation is one of the great innovations in warfare. It introduces a new battlefield dimension by enabling rapid force insertion into inaccessible objectives such as denied areas or deep behind enemy lines. Successful conduct of airborne operation allows ground commanders to threaten the enemy rear areas, causing the enemy to divert combat elements to protect vital installations and hold key terrains, overcome distances quickly, overfly barriers, and bypass enemy defenses, extend the area over which he can exert his influence, and exploit his combat power by increasing his tactical mobility. The mass jump demonstrates the expertise of the Special Operations Forces paratroopers as they jump from an aircraft and go airborne using the Philippine Army's maneuverable canopy Model 1, the Haribon parachute named after the majestic Philippine eagle or Haring Ibon, simply Haribon, the national bird of the Philippines. These jumps highlight their skills and prowess. Well, there you have them, ladies and gentlemen, the Special Forces Regiment Airborne Paratroopers. A big hand for the Special Forces. Today, distinguished guests, we welcome you to the grounds of Macabulos as we celebrate the Philippine Army's 127th year. It is the very first time that the Army is celebrating and holding the anniversary program outside of its headquarters. And we are proud to celebrate here at the home of the professionals, the source of Army standards, the Training and Doctrine Command, Philippine Army. This year's anniversary theme, Army at 127, matatag na hukbong katihan para sa bagong Pilipinas, manifests the steadfastness of the premier service of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, with commitment and fervor of continued service with pride and honor for the country and the Filipino people. Arrayed before you on the ground in mass formation is a division-sized troops consist of the combat and combat support units. From the Training and Doctrine Command, 77 and 28th Infantry Battalions, the 1st Scout Ranger Regiment, Special Forces Regiment Airborne, the troops that participated in the Combined Arms Training Exercise, from the Armored Division, and the reserve components. Also, you can see on the ground the showcase of the Philippine Army's traditional capabilities. We have the Philippine Army assets being used in the internal security operations, anti-terrorism, as well as in peace and humanitarian efforts. Consists of the firepower, the Army's artillery assets, the 105mm howitzers, the ultra-light tactical mobility vehicles of the Light Reaction Regiment, the Armored Division's truck vehicles, the Soltam Atmos 155mm self-propelled howitzers, the latest in the Army artillery assets. We also have the newly acquired ASCOD 2 Sabra light tanks, the Mobile Command Center, and beside the MCC, we have the Kirani 6x6 wheeled armored personnel carrier, the Simba armored fighting vehicles, the engineering equipment being utilized for nation building and humanitarian assistance and disaster response, the 8-ton and 5-ton troop carrier, rubber boats, and the Bolco helicopters. Today's event showcases the overall show of force of the Philippine Army. The troop commander for the ceremony is Major General Ignatius N. Patrimonio, the commander of the 11th Infantry Alakdan Division, Philippine Army. Everyone is now enjoined to stand for the invocation to be led by the Army Chief Chaplain, Colonel Roy L. Ongao.
Manalangin tayo. Pinupuri ka namin, O Panginoong Diyos, at pinasasalamatan sa biyaya ng isang magandang umaga at panibagong araw sa aming buhay at sa biyaya ng presensya ng bawat isang narito at ng mga nakasubaybay virtually. Maraming salamat din sa tagumpay ng mga naisagawang aktibidades kaugnay ng aming pagdiriwang ng ika-127 anibersaryo ng aming hukbong katihan. Tunay mong pinagpala ang aming hukbong katihan sa iyong patuloy na pagkilos at pagtaguyod mula sa pagkatatag. Marami pong salamat, Panginoon, sa magandang nangyayari sa aming hukbong katihan dahil sa biyaya ng kagitingan at mabuting pagsisikap ng mga nauna para sa aming hukbo at patuloy sa kasalukuyan. Maraming salamat din sa mga tao at iba't ibang ahensya at samahan na iyong sinugo bilang aming katuwang sa kanilang suporta. Ganon din sa biyaya ng suporta at inspirasyon ng aming pamunuan sa militar, ng aming mga kakilala at pamilya, at ng aming pamahalaan na nagpatibay sa amin at nagpasigla ng aming pagkilos upang makamit ang maraming tagumpay sa patuloy na pakikibaka para sa kapayapaan at kapakanan ng aming bayan. At sa aming pagsulong bilang iyong mga lingkod sa hukbong katihan, hinihiling po namin ang iyong patuloy na pagkilos sa aming gitna upang matahak namin ang tamang landas ng pagganap at patuloy na mapaunlad ang aming hanay. Patuloy mo rin nawa kaming biyayaan ng aming mga kinakailangan upang matugunan namin ng nararapat bilang mga lingkod bayan ang tawag ng aming dakilang katungkulan. Mapanatili nawa ang magandang kaisahan na aming nararanasan at mapalalim ang pasyon at pagmamahal sa iyong pagtawag sa amin sa buhay paglilingkod bilang kawal at kawani sa aming pungkatihan at manatiling makabuluhan at maaasahang hukbo para sa bagong Pilipinas. At para sa aming lahat, iyo nawa kaming akayin sa landas ng iyong kalooban at sa pagkakaisa bilang isang lahing Pilipino. Patuloy mo nawa kaming lingapin upang laging ligtas sa anumang kapahamakan, sampu ng aming mga mahal sa buhay. Papuri sa iyo, Panginoong Diyos, ngayon at magpakailanman. Amen.
Thank you. Please be seated. On the occasion of the 127th founding anniversary of the Philippine Army, let us now take a glimpse on the Philippine Army's journey through an audiovisual presentation.
Responding to the call of times, from rugged mountains to sprawling coastlines, the Philippine Army stands guard, ever vigilant, with strength that lies not only in numbers, but in the ability to mobilize swiftly and decisively. A force ready to meet any challenges head on. With over 100,000 active personnel and over 1 million strong reserve force, the Philippine Army is a formidable total force. Raw in numbers, yet the structure is designed for flexibility with readily deployable units across the archipelago. Each strength lies not just in numbers, but in unity and synergy. With collaborative efforts and teamwork, the effectiveness of the Army operations leads to greater overall success, fostering an organized and harmonious working environment. It can readily deploy the forces of combined arms to any region, when and where they are needed the most. The Philippine Army, under the modernization program, continues to invest in technology, equips soldiers with advanced communication systems, drones for real-time intelligence surveillance and reconnaissance, and improved weapons capabilities that ensures a versatile command force and resilient to any emerging hybrid threats. With its rapid mobilization force, having combined arms expertise, joint force ready, strong sense of adaptability to any situation, and commitment to the people, the Philippine Army stands as a guardian of peace and security for the nation. It is a force to reckon with, ready to face any challenge. Matatag na hukbong katihan para sa bagong Pilipinas.
Marami pong salamat. Natunghayan natin ang audiovisual na pagtatanghal na itinampok ang hukbong katihan mula noon hanggang ngayon bilang isang matatag na hukbo para sa bagong Pilipinas. Muli po, palakpakan natin ang ating hukbong katihan ng Pilipinas. This time, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, may we give a performance that shows off the collective skill, the discipline and strength of the Army personnel with their very own Philippine martial arts, the Arnis.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Brace yourselves as we are about to witness the incredible skills and unwavering spirit of the Philippine Army Arnis Exhibition Group. In 1974, former President Ferdinand Edralin Marcos Sr. supported the Filipino martial arts by establishing the National Arnis Association of the Philippines. And in 2009, Arnis became the national martial art and sport through the Republic Act 9850, with the armed forces of the Philippines serving as one of the entities overseeing its implementation.
These Arnis techniques are deeply ingrained in the training of our Philippine Army soldiers. These skills are not just for show, but are designed to be applied effectively in real-world scenarios. Witness their athleticism, accuracy, speed, and unwavering determination in a performance that will leave you breathless. Now, prepare to be captivated. The Philippine Army Arnisadors are ready to showcase their mastery in the Arnis
you have witnessed today are a testament to the rich history and enduring spirit of Filipino martial arts by your Philippine Army soldiers.
This occasion marks the 127th founding anniversary of the Philippine Army. We take pride in the impressive display of proficiency exhibited by our soldiers. Let's give a round of applause to the Arnis Trainers Training, Class 01 Arnisadors, Class 02 Camagong, and Class 03 Lumagapak for their exceptional performance.
And that concludes our Arnis exhibition.
Mabuhay ang lahing Filipino! Mabuhay ang matatag na hukbong katihan para sa bagong Pilipinas!
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, a big hand for the Arnis exhibition. As we take pride in this celebration, to open up today's ceremony with his welcome remarks and anniversary message, we have the Commanding General, Philippine Army, Lieutenant General Roy M. Galido.
To God be all the glory and our profound gratitude to the Almighty for the safe travel of our guests and for the making of this event. Before I go further with my message, allow me to acknowledge our distinguished guests and those who traveled afar, and I beg the indulgence of our guest of honor that it will take some time, sir, just to give due respect to their effort they made just to be with us today. May I first acknowledge our guest of honor speaker, His Excellency Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., represented by our Secretary of the Department of National Defense, Honorable Gilberto C. Teodoro Jr. Let's give him a big hand. The Special Assistant to the President, Secretary Honorable Antonio Ernesto Lagdameo Jr. Representing the Executive Secretary, Yusek Adrian Bersamin, Undersecretary of the Office of the Executive Secretary. My immediate predecessor and the current Chief of Staff, General Romeo S. Browner Jr. Secretary Andres C. Centino, Presidential Assistant for Maritime Concern. Sir, I wonder why you would want to be with the former CG. Thank you, sir. Ambassador Henry S. Bensurto Jr., MSub member of the Philippine Army and Ambassador Designate to Turkey. Secretary Dong Mendoza, Presidential Advisor on Legal Affairs. Yusek Shina Leong, ma'am. Honorable Carlito S. David, the Vice Governor of Capas Tarlac. Honorable Rosero Boots Rodriguez, the Mayor of Capas Tarlac. Sir, sorry about the Vice Governor of Tarlac, not Capas. Sorry po. Yusek Ariel Kakulitan, Undersecretary for the Opampa. ASEC Henry A. Robinson, Assistant Secretary for Plans, Department of National Defense. Representing the National Security Advisor, Major General Toinks Valencia. Sir, sorry about that. And of course, our colleagues in uniform, the Chief of the Philippine National Police, Police General Benjamin C. Acorda and staff, the Commandant of the Philippine Coast Guard Admiral Ronnie Gavan, Major Service Commander present, the Flag Officer in Command, Admiral June Adasi, sir, and Lieutenant General Stephen Pareño. From the GHQ, we have Lieutenant General Charlton Sean Gerlan, the Deputy Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines. And my wife, Rina. May I also acknowledge the chairperson of the Philippine Army Multi-Sector Advisory Board, Brigadier General Charito Plaza, and also Mr. Philip Paul Fortuno, a member of our MSAM. Colonel Roger Mercado, former Secretary of DPWH, our reservists of the Philippine Army. Senior officers, general officers of the General Headquarters. The Vice Commander of the Philippine Army, Major General Leo Ginid, and the commanders of the Philippine Army Major Unit, please stand up, to include the Headquarters Philippine Army General Staff. Ito, hindi ko, sir, if I would indulge, sir, I need to recognize them individually. The former commanding generals of the Philippine Army. I see here Lieutenant General De Los Santos, Sir Jimmy. We have General Tolentino. We have General Orgelio. We have General Santiago. We have General Esperon. We have General Dobby Miranda. We have General Manny Bautista. We have General Sobihana. General Bong Ibrado. Nandun pala, sir. Kaya pala hindi kita makita, sir. Sorry, sir. General Ortiz, Medal of Valor awardee. Medal of Valor awardee, Lieutenant General Vicente Bacaro. and Colonel Dilag, a Medal of Valor awardee, our living hero. I would also like to acknowledge the members of the Foreign Armed Forces Attaché, led by their Dean, Colonel Ahmad Jaffrey. Please stand up. Thank you very much for coming. Unified Commanders, Lieutenant General Fernil Buca, and Admiral wala si. Hindi sir, tapos na. Akala ko nandito sir si Abet Carlos. Members of the Philippine Army Conference Group Alpha, please stand up. Those who prepared this anniversary, thank you very much for your effort. Our sergeant majors from the different Philippine Army major units, please stand up. Our awardees for today, friends from the media, other officers, enlisted personnel, and civil human resource present, ladies and gentlemen, pleasant morning once again. As we celebrate the Army's 127th years of service today, allow me to present your Army of the present and the future, ang matatag na hukbong katiyan para sa bagong Pilipinas. In 2023, the Philippine Army introduced significant adjustments in terms of our mindset, priorities, and values, all aligned with the concept of Bagong Pilipinas. We have made great strides in our training and education programs, reserve force management, systems and procedures, sustainment and force, and Army values. Celebrating our Army anniversary in the location where we trained our troops to become professional soldiers is the first and most tangible adjustment that you are all witnessing right now. We want to underscore that the Army is moving beyond the expected ways, that we prefer today to celebrate our anniversary with our troops who are training to fight, preparing their minds and bodies to defend our country at all costs from those who will dare to disrupt our freedom. At this point, let me acknowledge the 39 Army soldiers who gave the ultimate sacrifice in the performance of their respective missions all over the country in the last 365 days. Let us offer a moment of silence for our heroes. Our Training and Doctrine Command is fast-tracking the construction of new training facilities across the country and adjusting its training programs to cope with the changing operational environment. In fact, we just concluded the conduct of Combined Arms Training Exercise Katihan, the first ever Army field exercise composed of more than 3,000 troops on the ground performing territorial defense operation a capability domain we are developing aside from the internal security operation that we normally do. CATEX Katiyan is also in compliance to the Department of National Defense Comprehensive Archipelagic Defense Concept that highlights a robust defense posture for our land, air, and maritime domains. It sets the Army's strategic direction and engagement to ensure its capabilities extend to the essential maritime sphere alongside other major service capabilities. There is also a major transformation in how we manage our Army Reserve Forces today, starting with providing a firm leadership guidance to focus on our Reserve Force organization and development programs. This endeavor entails the development, first, of our Army sustainment systems in the manner on how we equip, train, and support them, while being purposive on how our regular and reserve force operate in a seamless manner, both in peace and in time of crisis. Our reserve force is also a critical component of our Army, most especially deployed during disaster rescue and recovery operations. Together with the regular force and in coordination with the Office of the Civil Defense and local government units, we are usually the first responders in many humanitarian crises. Just last month, our Philippine Army forces figured in the rescue of landslide victims that devastated our kababayans in Davao del Norte province. With that, I recognize all the reservists from the different parts of the country who are joining us online to be part of this occasion. During my assumption as the commander of the Army in August 2023, I emphasized the word mission-oriented organization, but with a different context. That is, mission-oriented in terms of utilizing our finite financial resources, logistics, manpower, and time. Priority programs and activities were redefined. Resources have been realigned and policies reviewed, including recruitment, training, tactics, strategies, organization, and human resource development, most especially sustainment. As we face various challenges, transformation even is more essential. Just as David confronted Goliath and learning from the world's greatest athlete in the 70s, we are taking cue on handling formidable opponents by embracing a strategic mindset and forging inventive solutions. Thus, inspired by the maxim, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, we aspire to develop an army that is agile and precise, capable to deliver decisive action against any threat that may arise. In commemoration of the Women's Month, may I recognize the women on formation among the ranks. Kindly raise your right hand and remove your cover and wave your hands. I also acknowledge Lieutenant Colonel Jovelyn Carmel Cabading, the Battalion Commander of 60th Infantry Battalion, the first female Infantry Battalion Commander, and Lieutenant Colonel Teresita Gangan, the first Battalion Commander of the Military Intelligence Battalion in 3rd ID, who are with us today via virtual conference. Thumbs up please, ladies. Hindi na pala ladies, commanders. Gender and development has been mainstreamed and already integral part of the Army systems and processes. We have opened the doors for women to take on leadership roles, breaking free from the constraint of traditional gender roles in the military. Salamat sa inyong pag-volunteer na sumapi sa pinakamahirap at pinaka-challenging na branch of service. Palakpakan natin sila. Your Army is now optimizing our resources to sustain our forces in large-scale operation. This is one of the core objectives of CATEX Katiyan. We will continue testing the mobilization of forces in Mindanao, Visayas, and Luzon with a goal of establishing a robust and redundant command and control systems and redefining supply and sustainment of forces across the archipelago. Embracing the core pillars of our service, we commit ourselves to the principles that shape our resolute dedication to duty and professionalism. Discipline is the foundation of our professionalism. A healthy lifestyle ensures that we are fit for service. Strong family bonds provide the support that fuel our perseverance, and our faith guides every step, inspiring us to serve with integrity and divine guidance. Your 127-year-old Army is and will be committed to continuous learning and development, especially in our training and education to adapt to the new security challenges. Our reserve force development programs will amplify unity and bayanihan spirit in all activities. A manifestation for this is a blood donation program we had first week of March, wherein we were able to gather 27,000 blood bags for donation. Prudence will be the keyword in the Army systems and procedures, while discipline and excellence will continue to define our day-to-day operation. In sustaining the force, hard work, resiliency, and deliberate planning will be the principles. Ang sundalo natin ay gagabayan ng disiplina, kalusugan at kalakasan, pagmamahal sa pamilya at taimtim na panalangin sa poon may kapal para maging matatag ang pundasyon ng hukbong katiyan. Maraming salamat sa tiwala at suporta. Ipagtatanggol natin ang konstitusyon, proprotektahan namin ang ating Pangulo at ang kanyang pamilya, proprotektahan namin ang ating mamamayan at ating bansa. Maraming salamat sa pagdalo ninyo sa selebrasyon ng ating hukbong katiyan. Mabuhay ang matatag na hukbong katiyan para sa bagong Pilipinas. Mabuhay ang matatag na hukbong katiyan para sa bagong Pilipinas. Mabuhay ang matatag na hukbong katiyan para sa bagong Pilipinas. Magandang araw sa inyong lahat, that in all things, God may be glorified.
Thank you very much to the Commanding General, Philippine Army, Lieutenant General Roy M. Galido. We shall proceed with the presentation of awards. Military personnel, reservists, and civilian human resource, as well as stakeholders, will be presented with awards. The guest of honor and speaker, represented by Secretary Gilberto C. Chodoro Jr. of the Department of National Defense, is requested for the presentation of awards to be assisted by the Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines, General Rommel Browner Jr., and the Commanding General, Philippine Army, Lieutenant General Roy M. Galido. The Outstanding Achievement Medal is awarded to Colonel Eufrasio Joel G. Malik Jr., O-11697 General Staff Corps, Infantry, Philippine Army. The Gold Cross Medal is awarded to First Lieutenant Alan Kenny M. Manuel, O-19139 Military Intelligence, Philippine Army. The Gold Cross Medal is awarded to Second Lieutenant Feljoy B. Ending, O-21018 Infantry, Philippine Army. The Gold Cross Medal is awarded to Sergeant Roldan F. Catalbas, 888216 Infantry, Philippine Army. The command plaque for the best enlisted personnel for the year is presented to Staff Sergeant Alfie Jean S. Avila, 857477 Military Intelligence, Philippine Army. The command plaque for the best CAFGU Active Auxiliary of the year is presented to CAFGU Active Auxiliary Jordan M. Kiador, NC-G21-000467, Philippine Army. Command plaque for the best reservist officer of the year is presented to Major Flodemonte S. Herdan, O-150002-E, Philippine Army Reserve. He comes from the 203rd Ready Reserve Infantry Battalion of the 2nd Regional Community Defense Group of the Reserve Command. The command plaque for the best reservist enlisted of the year is presented to Master Sergeant Arthur Eric J. Castuera, AL-A008229, Philippine Army Reserve. He comes from the 504th Ready Reserve Infantry Battalion of the 504th Community Defense Center of the 5th Regional Community Defense Group. Command plaque for the best male ROTC cadet of the year is presented to Cadet Colonel Vincent John L. Moncal, First Class. He comes from NMCI ROTC unit of the 1501st Community Defense Center, 15th RCDG. Command plaque for the best female ROTC cadet of the year is presented to Cadet Major Giselle May S. Garcia, First Class. She's from MSU Buog ROTC unit of the 904th Community Defense Center, 9th RCDG. Command plaque for the Model Supervisor of the Year is presented to Ms. Julieta S. Mama, PhD, Registered Psychologist. She comes from the Camp Evangelista Station Hospital of the 4th Infantry Division, Philippine Army. The command plaque for the Model Employee of the Year is presented to Engineer Jean-Claude D. Gosela, Engineer 2. He's from the Research and Development Center of the Army Support Command. This time, we'll have the awarding for the stakeholders and people's organizations. The Philippine Army Stakeholder Award is presented to Dr. Ramel Y. Uy, Chief Executive Officer of 5K Broadcasting Network, Incorporated. The Philippine Army Stakeholder Award is presented to the Honorable Susan A. Yap, Governor of Tarlac. The award will be received by her representative, the Honorable Carlito S. David, the Vice Governor of Tarlac. The Philippine Army People's Organization Award is presented to San Gabriel Integrated Farmers Association. The award will be received by Mr. Vicente A. Cada Jr., President of San Gabriel Integrated Farmers Association. Well, congratulations to all the awardees. Thank you to the Secretary of National Defense, to the Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines, and the Commanding General, Philippine Army. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, a big hand for all the awardees. Well, at this point, to introduce now the guest of honor and speaker, we have the Chief of Staff, Armed Forces of the Philippines, General Romis Browner, Jr.
Before I introduce our guest of honor and speaker, allow me to greet the Philippine Army a happy 127th anniversary. Also, with the indulgence of our guest of honor, allow me to announce, because I was impressed by the Arnis exhibition that was shown to us this morning, and now that we have enough instructors for Arnis, henceforth, Arnis as a martial art, Filipino bred, will be taught to all members of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, including the Philippine Navy and the Philippine Air Force. Let me now proceed to my task of introducing our guest of honor and speaker. Our guest of honor and speaker for the 127th anniversary of the Philippine Army is no less than the President of the Republic of the Philippines and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Philippines, His Excellency Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., who is represented today by the Secretary of National Defense. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all welcome the Honorable Gilberto C. Teodoro Jr.
Thank you very much, General Bronner. Please take your seats. General Patrimonio, kindly order the troops to Tikas Pahinga.
Tikas! Hinga! No.
Thank you very much to our Chief of Staff, General Romeo S. Bronner, our host for today, Lieutenant General Roy M. Galido and Mrs. Rina Galido, my colleagues, Secretary Antonio Ernesto F. Lagdameo Jr., Special Assistant to the President, Secretary Mark Leandro Mendoza, Presidential Advisor on Legislative Affairs, Secretary Andy Centino, Presidential Advisor on Maritime Concerns, the Executive Secretary, the Honorable Lucas Bersamin, represented by Assistant Secretary Adrian Bersamin, fellow workers in government, of course, the Chief of the Philippine National Police, General Benji Acorda, and Admiral Gavan of the Philippine Coast Guard, fellow workers in government, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, present, good morning to each and every one of you. It is an honor to represent President Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr. as we celebrate the Philippine Army's 127th founding anniversary. The President extends his greetings to everyone, especially to all the men and women of the Philippine Army on the occasion of this anniversary. He likewise conveys his deep regrets for not being able to be with us today. Nonetheless, he wishes that we all have a memorable event. With your indulgence, I shall now read His Excellency's speech. I extend my warmest greetings to the officers, enlisted personnel, and civilian human resource of the Philippine Army on the occasion of your founding anniversary. Since your foundation 127 years ago, the Philippine Army has endured the test of time, prevailed over battles, and evolved into a force that we can all be proud of. Not only has the organization been successful in its internal security operations, but it also exerted efforts in shifting to external defense. Equally noteworthy are your peacetime endeavors, which put you at the forefront of rescue and recovery missions aimed at ensuring the safety of our citizens. Our soldiers have become a reliable and calming presence amidst the loss and destruction that come in the wake of disasters and calamities. On behalf of a grateful nation, I give my snappiest salute to the Philippine Army's officers, enlisted personnel, civilian employees, as well as our partners and force multipliers in our communities for the significant roles you play in the accomplishment of the Army's mission. Thank you for your service to our country, which you have enthusiastically rendered without expecting any prize or reward in return. I also recognize the Commanding General of the Philippine Army, Lieutenant General Roy Galido, for continuing to raise the morale of our troops through your exemplary leadership. Our brave men and women look up to you for inspiration and guidance, and I hope that you will continue to show them your selfless and dedicated service to the nation. The incredible movement of large-scale forces and the total show of force you have and will see today is just a glimpse of the tremendous pace that our Army is progressing in terms of capabilities. So carry on, Lieutenant General Galido. As we march onward to the bagong Pilipinas that we aspire for, we need to transform our Army into a multi-mission ready, cross-domain, and capable force that can effectively thwart emerging threats to our country's stability and sovereignty. That is why we continue to boost our Army's morale, efficiency, and responsiveness through continuous capacity building initiatives, rigorous training, and education activities, and other meritorious pursuits. Our ability to counter cyber threats is also of great importance. Given this emerging threat, I urge the Philippine Army to bolster its cybersecurity capabilities to keep up with the rapid technological advancements and help maintain the country's security and stability. I hope that you will adopt the lessons you have learned, the best practices you have gained from joint operations and interactions with other major services of the AFP and our foreign defense counterparts. Let the time-honored creed of honor, patriotism, and duty be your guidepost in marching towards total victory as we create a bagong Pilipinas that prioritizes peace, progress, and stability. Again, I wish the Philippine Army a happy 127th founding anniversary. Mabuhay ang hukbong katihan ng Pilipinas! Mabuhay ang bagong Pilipinas! Ladies and gentlemen, those are the words of the Commander-in-Chief. Let us remain steadfast in the fulfillment of our duties and support the administration's goal of a bagong Pilipinas. Maraming salamat, Philippine Army, at mabuhay.
Thank you very much, Secretary Gilberto S. Chidoro, Jr. of the Department of National Defense. Please be seated. May we now invite your attention as our Special Forces troopers conduct the military free fall. Military free fall is a technique used by Special Operations Forces to infiltrate behind enemy lines. It involves jumping out of an aircraft at high altitude and free falling until the parachute is deployed. The military free fall allows operators to insert into areas where traditional parachute jumps would not be feasible due to the distance from the target or the need for stealth. MFF is a highly specialized skill that requires extensive training and experience. Operators must be proficient in skydiving techniques and familiar with the equipment used in the military free-fall operations. They must also be able to navigate using the GPS and other tools, as well as be prepared to deal with potential hazards such as high winds, difficult terrain, and enemy detection.
Airborne from skies so blue, we're coming through. Make you jump, make you bump, let's go!
The military free fall is typically used for high-risk missions such as reconnaissance, sabotage, and direct action raids. It allows Special Operations Forces to rapidly insert into an area undetected, giving them a tactical advantage over the enemy. Military free fall is just one of the many techniques used by Special Operations Forces for infiltration, and it requires careful planning, coordination, and execution to be successful. The tactical employment of the military free fall involves careful planning and execution to ensure the safety and success of the mission. Well, here are some key considerations for the tactical employment of the military free fall. Mission planning. Before conducting the military free fall operation, mission planners must carefully assess the objective and select the appropriate insertion method, equipment, and personnel. They must also consider factors such as weather, terrain, and enemy activity. Equipment selection. Military free fall requires specialized equipment including oxygen systems, cold weather gear, and high-altitude parachutes. Operators must be trained on the proper use of these equipment and conduct thorough equipment checks before each mission. Personnel selection and training. MFF requires highly trained and experienced operators who can handle the physical and mental demands of the high-altitude parachuting. Operators must undergo rigorous training in the MFF techniques, including high-altitude jumps, oxygen systems, and emergency procedures. Also, operational security. MFF operations are often conducted in hostile environments, and operational security is paramount to mission success. Operators must take measures to avoid detection and maintain secrecy before, during, and after the mission. Overall, the tactical employment of the military free fall requires careful planning, specialized equipment, highly trained personnel, operational security, and risk management. When executed properly, military free fall can provide a highly effective means of infiltrating enemy territory and conducting special operations mission. Well, upon reaching their designated landing zone, the Special Forces team will immediately cache their parachutes to avoid detection and will proceed to their objectives.
We're gonna jump tonight as we never jumped before. For when we jump, we're happy as can be. For we are the members of the Airborne Company, which is the best company that has ever come from the AFP. Glorious, glorious, a truckload of beer for the whole of us. Praise the Lord above, there will be more of us. For we are the members of the Airborne Company, which is the best company that has ever.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you have witnessed is the military free fall operation conducted by the troops of the Special Forces Regiment Airborne Philippine Army.
Praise the Lord above, there will be more of us. For we are the members of the Airborne Company, which is the best company that has ever come from the AF.
A big hand for the Special Forces Regiment Airborne.
We're Special Forces of the AFP.
Well, the Troop Commander, Major General Ignatius N. Patrimonio, will report for the termination of today's ceremony.
Ginoo, tapos na po ang seremonya.
Well, from here, the Secretary of National Defense is requested to proceed down the grandstand for the photo opportunity with the soldiers. We also would like to request, of course, the other distinguished personalities, other government officials, joined by the PAMO commanders. Please join in the photo opportunity, and other distinguished guests. Once again, PAMO commanders, please join in the photo opportunity down the grandstand, please.
Let's go!